I am so glad you convinced me that the family car should be the Defender 110. It is so beautiful inside, it's so comfortable, and it just feels indestructible.
Yes, it really is. I've been waiting a long time for the new model to come out. The Defender 110, I'm telling you, it's my favorite car of all times. It's my third one. You know, I have stories of going off-road. The guy managed the group. He was like, what are you doing in this beautiful car? I'm like, I'm going off-road. He's like, are you sure? Because you can use one of ours. And then they look like Mad Max cars. I'm like, no, we're going to do this. And he was shocked.
Wow. Well, it's great because the Defender has been reimagined for 21st century adventure, and its unparalleled off-road ability as well as its robust interior are invaluable whether you're headed towards uncharted territory or just a weekend of exploration. The Defender 110 tackles challenging surroundings with absolute confidence. The SUV conveys strength outside and in, featuring peerless technology like an intuitive driver display and an award-winning infotainment system. That's my favorite part, to keep you connected no matter where the journey takes you. Adventure is unique to everyone, and so is the Defender. Choose from the two-door Defender 90, the four-door Defender 110, or the larger Defender 130 with the ability to seat up to 8 passengers. You'll find uncompromising performance in all three. So pack up and go even further with the Defender 110. Learn more at LandRoverUSA.com/Defender.
This isn't your average business podcast, and he's not your average host. This is the James Altucher Show.
So, welcome to another company podcast with Jay and Nathan. Hi, Nathan. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. Happy Mother's Day, Jay.
Oh yeah, it's Mother's Day.
Have you called your mother in Malaysia?
Well, it's.
Yeah, you missed it there, didn't you? Is it tomorrow there?
It's tomorrow there. Like they live in the future, you know.
Oh,
they live in the future. They they get all the information way quicker than us. They get the information even before it happens.
It's great. She's already listened to this episode somehow.
Yeah, she's already know that Jay and Nathan is the future of the podcast. You know, the podcast star. Anyway, so we are back to talk about what we learned this month. We have a lot of good episodes out this month. We have at least like 10 to 12 episodes this month.
Well, it's been more than a month since our last episode, so we're cheating a little bit. We have about a month and a half worth of shows. We had just crossed the 700th episode barrier when we last did our show, so we're moving into the future.
Do you think we're going to hit 1,000 episodes this year?
This year?
Yeah.
Huh. I hope not. That sounds way too many.
Well, because I remember last year alone, it was like 500. Or we had like 400.
We started off the goal. We were trying to get 5 episodes a week when we started pre-pandemic stricken 2020.
But we didn't number all the extra episodes, so.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure we're gonna hit 1,000. I wonder what we're gonna do when we hit 1,000 episodes. We'll probably have a huge gathering or something. Anyway, so let's talk about what we have this month. I'm really like this episode 704. It's called with Amanda Ripley, and it's titled "Why Are We Attracted to High Conflict?" It's crazy because so I was never into politics at all. Never thought about politics. Never thought about who's going to be president or whatever. It's the last presidential elections got me into all these crazy conflicts because I just started, I like social media. I go to social media and I sort of see people like, oh, hey, look at all this thing this guy has done. Look at all this thing this guy has done. And then I just look it up a lot of time, both sides has their point. They just want to argue about it. I don't know if you have been into that situation at all, Nathan.
I try to avoid those situations.
Yeah, can you avoid though? Did you manage to avoid though? Like for me, I can't. Like I get so angry because it's not me engaging the argument. It's more like when I see the argument going and I'm like, this is dumb.
Right.
And then a lot of time if you look at the argument, they never want to be convinced. They want to convince the other party. It shouldn't be the case, We should be open to listen to what others has to say.
Most of the information we're hearing from official media sources is going to be tinged by at least the journalist bias, even if they don't have an inherent political bias in one degree or another. There's always the voice of the journalist, even in straight news. And the story's getting written for a reason. So I'm not bashing mainstream media. I read all sources. We work in media, you know?
Right.
But yeah, I try to understand by working on the inside that a lot of this is just a game in order to perpetuate a point.
It is. Like, I don't think there's any neutral media out there at all right now. Like, I could be wrong, but I don't think there's any news source that, like, the title is just totally neutral. Even CNN or whatever, they claim that they're neutral.
Certainly
you
not
said,
something
like,
that
you know?
big. Any conglomerate corporation is not going to be. No, everyone needs to
Yeah.
get that out of their mind. That's silly. But that doesn't mean it's not credible. It just means the facts are trying to point towards a
Right.
certain conclusion that they've already decided.
Right.
It's fascinating, though, reading through, High Conflict, Amanda Ripley, why we get trapped and how we get out, because it does
Yeah.
happen. We
Yeah.
ended up in this kind of good versus evil kind of feud, and we just seem to be getting to this point where we're just mystified by the other side, the other people we're talking to, because we are having like two completely different conversations.
It is. And then also, like, people lost friends and families, over like political argument. I don't know. Have you lost any friends or?
Well, that's the thing. I try to stay out of it. I mean, I might have lost friends by just not engaging to begin with, by selecting. I mean, one of the reasons I left social media many years ago was that people who I had non-political relationships with, I would see them posting their political opinions, but that's the only type of information they were putting out. Right. I know that was never my relationship, but that's the only thing and a third-party experience that I'm reading. And I'm like, this isn't useful. This isn't productive. I might not agree with this person. It was unnecessarily taxing on my mind of things that I didn't care about.
Right.
I guess I took an avoidance tactic and just kind of removed myself from others' situations.
Right. And also, like, I mean, like, Amanda, in the episodes, Amanda did, did mention that that's, different kind of conflicts. There's high conflicts like that. There's also positive conflicts. And positive conflicts, if I'm not mistaken, it's actually constructive. Sometimes you guys have to argue a point. This has to happen when everyone's it's ready to listen, like ready to listen, ready to be convinced, and then, we build for the better tomorrow. So the episode with Amanda Ripley is great because, like, you just listen to why people like to engage in high conflicts to prove their point. And also, like, she also point out a couple techniques to, like you said, to avoid the conflicts. And also, like,
she calls it short-circuiting the feedback loops.
Yep. And also, like, if you're in the conflicts, what you should do to make sure the conflicts didn't go way deeper. I think that's how the episode started out. James is like, hey, they were talking about some issues, and Amanda is like, yeah, this is the issues I just got into a fight with over Twitter, and then moved to emails, and then she has to actually. I think it was about the issues of, like, should we send the kids back to school? That was because it was recorded back in March, so like that's when it's still during the lockdown. The vaccine is still not out yet, so, like, she has to calm herself down for a couple of days and then reply to the email, because that sort of gave time for both parties to cool down. And then the other side also responded like, yeah, this is more complicated than what we think, or more complicated than we think it is.
Definitely.
Yeah. So do you have a favorite this month, Nathan?
I've been really interested in the new series, which James doesn't seem to have named, but which we have named Make You a Millionaire.
Do you like the artwork, though?
I love the artwork.
Oh, hey, thank you.
Yes. So as of this recording, I just finished editing and sent you the third episode. All 3 episodes have come out since our last companion podcast. And this was a concept that James had pitched around to a bunch of TV networks and various formats. And he finally decided to do it solo as a spin-off podcast series called Make You a Millionaire. And he's getting 4 or so random-ish people. Over the next 6 to 12 months, he's working with them, using the techniques from his new book, Skip the Line, available from HarperCollins, Harper Business, to gross $1 million or become millionaires. And James has had a 2-track kind of existence in here.
When you say James, it's James Quandel.
James Quandel, yes.
Yeah, just Quandel, not to confuse the audience. So the first series is with James Quandel.
His bread and butter has been setting up e-commerce stores on Amazon and managing that. But he's also been in James Fan and trying to create an entrepreneurial line using faith-based entrepreneurship. So each of these episodes, they're kind of expanding what could be the quickest spoken wheel method to grow his businesses based on his personal strengths. And they started by focusing on the spiritual habits of entrepreneurs and gone into some quick interview rounds with, who was it? Dave Kerpen?
Dave Kerpen and then Bill Glazer.
And Bill Glazer from Outstanding Foods. Over the 3 episodes, they've kind of pivoted. They've realized that the quicker approach to creating high-impact marketing and dollars is going to be building his Amazon teaching techniques into courses that can kind of cull and build his email list. And at the same time, he's been working on using his idea lists to expand his personal writing about the spiritual habits of entrepreneurs and kind of make that a long-tail spoken wheel approach to getting his name out as an expert in the field, getting a book out to try to build on that side. And so create this long tail on one division by building his social, at the other side, building money on his already existing skill set, going from a service industry into a product.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of crazy because this series is totally coincidence. So James did that for Skip the Line book, actually, just a challenge. If you bought the book, if you bought the receipt, you email altucher@gmail.com, it's just show that you bought the book, then you will get picked. And then, the first is James Crandall. I mean, the first meeting, so the first episodes of the series is actually not the first meeting. Before
0.
that. Yeah, that was episode 0 that we didn't put out because that was just regular meet and greets. James do this all the time, and then we started recording, and then we're like, hey, this is great. Let's make it in a series. And I think, a part of what you learn from the series, I think this series is great. It's also that you can see the growth of the person. It's not just like Barack Obama came on or Andrew Yang came on, one and done. This is actually we're following the journey of James Crandall. He might have a hero's journey in there. He might not. We don't know because it's we're doing it in real time. We are not writing script. So I think that episode is great. And then actually we have 3 more guests actually in the can. We're just deciding to release it or not because it's crazy. So right now we have James Crandall, right? James Crandall is, like you said, online e-commerce and
spiritual entrepreneurship.
And then we have 3 more industry that James doesn't know how to put it out. I know how to put it out, but James is like, let me figure out. But we actually have another one in restaurant industry.
Ooh, very interesting right now.
Yep, and programming industry. And we have a new one that coming up. It's gonna be in, how do you call it? A bridesmaid industry? It's in wedding industry. So it will be interesting. Yeah, so it's very interesting. I keep convincing James hey, we should put those out as well. So even though it's not just all entrepreneur, but it's in different industry that's sort of showcase a different range of people rather than like the pitch or the pitch is great. I'm not saying anything bad about the pitch. So rather than just one and done, this is the story progress. But yeah, so the series is great. We are really excited about that series. And if you like that, if you think my idea is great about having different industry, you can tweet at James on his Twitter, J Altucher, or tweet at me, J_YLW07, and tell me, hey, that's a great idea. And then we will put it out. We never know. It's more like we were trying to find out if anyone would like that. Okay, so I have another episode that I like this month, but I think you like it more.
705 with David Epstein.
How to with David Epstein. I think, do you like that more or do I like that more? I can't remember.
I really like David Epstein. We know David as an author. I like the How To podcast with Charles Duhigg. And now David Epstein has taken over as host of the Slate podcast, How To, formerly a Charles Duhigg joint. So it's exciting to see changing a host mid-series is a very tough thing to do. Because people are attached to it. It's the reason. It's the voice.
Right.
This is a great changeover. It doesn't really feel like a loss. It's David Epstein is riding a wave of curiosity, and he's got a whole different mindset than Charles.
It's interesting because David Epstein was never a podcaster.
No,
he was never a podcaster. He came on do a couple of interviews, but he never a podcaster, and he he wrote a book, Range, which is great. We loved it. And he came on for that book before. I think it's episode.
The sports gene?
Yeah, the sports genes. And it's crazy. And then I always felt like there's a little bit of overlap between Skip the Line and Range. I'm not sure if that makes sense. Because
so?
it's because like in Range, he talked about borrowing a skill from another things that you did to put
being a
whatever you're
generalist
doing
instead
right
of
now.
a specialist.
Yep. It's almost like Skip the Line. Skip the Line is like, hey, you did public speaking before. You can borrow the skill,
Borrow the micro skills. Yeah, that's right.
For your comedy, or you can borrow a skill from let's say this sounds crazy, but I've been coaching James on chess.
Oh, cool.
In terms of not chess playing, not tactics. In terms of the usage of your mouse and keyboard. So I'm a gamer. Yeah, I'm a gamer. So like I know the ins and outs of how the keyboard feedback and the mouse feedback could affect how you play a game.
Okay.
So let's say your mouse, like James' mouse DPI is dot per inch. So the lower DPI, the slower it will go. So like you have to make a big mouse movement so that your mouse will move. So James always been doing at like 800 DPI, which is really low in my book. And then he keep losing on the Puzzle Storm. And then we're trying to figure out why. And then I'm like, just bring your DPI up. Just open your mouse setting, just bring your DPI up. Just change some of your mouse settings, because if you're using a gaming mouse, you can change your mouse to snap a straight line rather than a zigzag. So he changed that, and then his rating went up on ChatStorm.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
because he moved quicker without putting in a lot of effort. He moved quicker without having to move
It's
the
like
mouse
his
too far.
reflexes were faster all of a sudden.
Yep. But he has to retrain him because he's been getting used to the big mouse movement. Yeah, so now he had to retrain himself so he wouldn't overshot it or he wouldn't blunder. In
For
terms
sure.
of, like mouse sleep, that's what they call it. So yeah, so you can take that micro skill from gaming in general, like just playing games in general, you put it on, online chess, So this is sort of what Skip the Line is. Also, this is sort of what Range is. So that's why I say, like, they have some overlap there. And when James and David Epstein got on together, that the episodes just get a lot better.
It almost rhymed.
Do you have another favorite episodes?
708 with Jason Feifer, which
Yes.
we know that Jason's always a favorite guest, either alone or together.
Yep.
I immediately I felt so validated after listening to Jason's episode.
Right. Yeah, I especially love the clip that you picked out. Because the clip, I remember the clip is saying like everyone has to have an option A and an option B, right? The job option and the option B. Option A is whatever you do full time, 9 to 5, or office time, whatever. And then you have the option B is whatever that your full time doesn't require to do, but you want to do it anyway because it will help down the line. You know. So for Jason, it would be like he's a writer. He talked about this in the podcast. When he first started out, he was a writer for a news. Was it a newspaper or a magazine? It was a newspaper, right?
Well, he was talking. I remember him talking about how whatever media company he was working for had opened up a video studio, and then he used that. He decided to take advantage of that. Like asked to be a host. He had no hosting experience, but he learned how to be on camera and create video content just so he could develop this skill. And how he parlayed that into podcasting. From that, he realized a microphone wasn't expensive, and he had kind of grasped the skill from the video side of things, and was able to start talking. And he was just saying you needed to start developing these skill B. Because skill A, working on job A is only going to make you better at the job you already have, and working at skill B is going to prepare you for something. It's going to create that. It's going to be that extra thing that will set you up for what you want to do next. It's going to be able to, you have hands-on, be able to bring ideas to your new, you could get promoted at your job because you have new ideas to bring forth that weren't asked of you. You're able to bring new ideas forth, or you could pivot and create a whole side industry.
Right. Yeah. And also, like, I like that when they first started podcast, they were actually the episodes. It's 708. How to pitch, negotiate, and sell using the hero's journey with Jason Pfeiffer. I loved, and also they started out actually talking about one of Jason's employees is leaving the company. So and then they started talking about the employment industry in general nowadays. Like you would never able to stay in you shouldn't want to stay in the same job for more than 5-6 years. Because like this is how you climb the ladder. You don't climb the ladder within the company anymore. You climb the ladder by doing a lot of different things, and then and then you sort of climb out from your current company, go do other things or other jobs, and then maybe you will go back to your company and have a higher positions and a higher pay. Which is what we always do. Like as an audio engineer, that's what we always do anyway. You can't really start it out from you can become a studio intern and then become a studio assistant in the same studio. But it's very hard for us to become a audio from assistant to audio engineer. It took 6 or 7 years.
If you just look at the typical corporate structure,
right,
it's meant to be this way where you need to have outside skills in order to gain the ideas to jump up. You mean like you start below, your entry level or your associate, whatever type of level where you're doing stuff. You're the doer and you get really good at doing it and you know how a company does stuff. But then you're the manager. And the manager is doing less stuff, but they're making the decisions. They're not making the decision. They're making decisions about how the doers get stuff done, but they're not always deciding why, because the directors above them are coming up with the strategy. And it's hard to go from a manager to a director because you're used to just doing the stuff, and all of a sudden you have to have the ideas and tell the other people. And then you go up from there. So each of them, there's a different responsibility, there's a different mindset attributed to it. And you need to be able to have that next mindset. But you can't gain that mindset if you're dedicating 100% of your brain power to the thing you're doing, because there's supposed to be different mindsets. They're supposed to be delineated for that reason, that the decision maker isn't the same person as the delegator is the same person as the doer.
Right. So this is an interesting question that I want to ask you. I don't know if you prepared this for us. What is the craziest thing you have done to climb the ladder? James and Jason talk about this in the episode as well. Like how do you make other people see your values? Is that you should be doing things that no one asked you to do. So when I was first started with James, right, I only there for recording. I didn't have to do anything else, but I think it would help James if they have a picture together. So I volunteered to like, hey, let me take a picture for you. So every episode after the taping is done, I will make sure they stay and take a good picture, and then we'll send it to whoever they want to receive that picture. So I did this. One, they will have my email contact if they want to have a podcast. Two, they have something to share together.
Yeah, I mean that's without shoving anybody down the ladder. All of my jobs have come from that same kind of thing, from just being prepared for the thing they're not thinking of. That's how I got involved with James and Stephen Dubner when I was working at a studio, and I was able to get their project done in a really efficient way that made them want to work with me. By keeping multiple industries alive, I've been competitive in a traditional corporate structure and also in a media structure which might have a higher pay, which might be able to offer something higher on a yearly basis, but its job term is kind of relegated to the length of the show. So if you're working on a show with a team, that job could do extremely well, but it might only last as long as the show exists. And then you're looking for a job again. And I've kind of skirted the boundary by keeping the podcasts, working on select high-profile podcasts while bouncing those skills that I'm gaining in my personal time and bringing them to a more traditional media company that doesn't have that kind of internal stuff.
Yeah.
So I keep bringing skills inward and then say, well, I can use it here and you can pay me more, or you can go somewhere else where they're going to pay me more.
Right. Yeah. So that's how you show your value.
That's how I've done it over and over again. But it hasn't felt bad. It's just saying, here's what the money's worth now. I can get it a different place if it's not here.
Yeah, so that's sort of like circle back to like what they said in their podcast in the first part of the podcast, because it's almost like a two-part in the podcast. The first part in the podcast is like how do you climb the ladder? You didn't climb just by doing what you do all day and then go back and sleep or go back and drink and go party. You do more than what you ask.
Well, just like now, we're creating content. We're hosting.
Yeah.
James didn't
Yeah.
ask us to host the show. We decided
No.
it would be fun, so we're doing it.
Yeah, I always wanted to do this since 2018. It's just that I never have time. It's not that I never have time. I never find the right host, the right co-host. Even though there's Steve Cohen, Pam, and everyone else there. But it's also like I have to like book studio or whatever. But this is easy. I can get on a computer weekends. We jump on and we talk.
These days, we're all investors, trying to be smart with our money despite our worst impulses. But at iShares, we believe that deep down inside of every investor is a better investor. One that's just waiting to be let out. Explore iShares ETFs and insights and let your best investor out. Visit iShares.com for more information.
You know what I love about fantasy sports is that even though I'm not going to be a great basketball player or a baseball player or a football player or whatever, I feel like I get to participate and make decisions and use my knowledge of these different leagues or these different sports to compete. So it's like I can pick my team or I can pick my favorite players and I could use my knowledge to make predictions and maybe even make money. So with the basketball season here, you can now pick combo projections across football and basketball from the Specials League on Prize Picks. This is a league created specifically for combo projections that include two or more players from different sports or leagues. Want to play alongside some of Prize Picks' favorite players like rapper Meek Mill and comedian Andrew Schultz, who's also been a guest on this podcast, and I've been a guest on his? You can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries for some of the biggest names in the Prize Picks community each week. Look, Prize Picks even offers a reboot policy so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For football and basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second, that player is rebooted. Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. What? So, I love playing it. I love anywhere where I can use analytical ability with my interests to demonstrate some skill and maybe make some money. And I like the game-like aspect. I do wish they had chess as a category on prizepicks.com, but I'll settle for what they've got. Maybe I should make my own fantasy chess league. But in any case, I love Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/James. Use code James for a first deposit match up to $100. That's the easiest $100 you're ever going to make. So that's prizepicks.com/James and use code James. Daily fantasy sports made easy. The future of learning is definitely online. Like, it's such BS that you have to spend $200,000 or take $200,000 in loans and go to some fancy school when it's useless. It doesn't guarantee you a job. Most employers, including me, do not care about degrees or grades or anything like that. We want to care that you love what you're doing, that you know what you're doing, in some cases that you have experience or that you're willing to learn. But people in general love learning and are curious. Like, the key to success is curiosity. And I think masterclass.com is the perfect model for online learning. I'm really happy they're sponsoring this episode. If you're going to give a gift, give the gift of learning. Masterclass makes a meaningful gift this season for you and anyone on your list, because both of you can learn from the best to become your best, from leadership to effective communication to cooking. Let me tell you some of the classes I've taken. I've taken comedy from Steve Martin. I mean, can you believe I can take a class from Steve Martin on comedy, or Judd Apatow, my favorite comedy director? I could take an actual class from him on writing. Wolfgang Puck on cooking. Dan Brown on writing, or Judy Bloom, who's been on this podcast, on writing. By the way, Wolfgang Puck also has been on this podcast. It's such a pleasure. I try to take classes all the time from masterclass.com. And whether you're watching Masterclass on TV or listening in audio mode in the app or on their site, the quality speaks for itself. It's like these Masterclass instructors are your own personal mentors that are going to help you reach the next level. How much would it cost to take one-on-one classes on comedy from Steve Martin or on chess from Gary Kasparov? You just wouldn't be able to do it. But it would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. With a Masterclass annual membership, it's $10 a month. Memberships start at $120 a year for unlimited access to one-on-one classes with all 180 plus Masterclass instructors. So it's not just $120 for one instructor. You get all 180 plus Masterclass instructors. Boost your confidence and find practical takeaways you can apply to your life and at work. And if you own a business or are a team leader, use Masterclass to empower and create future-ready employees and leaders. That's the real education in today's world. So this holiday season, you can give one annual membership and get one free at masterclass.com/JAS. JAS, of course, stands for the James Altucher Show. So right now you can get 2 memberships for the price of one at masterclass.com/JAS. Masterclass.com/JAS. Offer terms apply.
And then in the same episode, the meat of the episode is how to pitch or negotiate with hero's journey. So I always love hero's journey because I felt like, have you seen the movie Bohemian Rhapsody?
I have not seen it yet, but I really want to.
Okay.
Does
so
Freddie
no
Mercury
spoiler.
go on the hero's journey?
Okay, so I'm sure Freddie Mercury has hero's journey in his own life, But in the movie is all about how he became successful. That's it. There's no failure. And then even when there's failure, it's only fail for like 10 minutes. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So personally, I don't think that movie is a great movie. Like, even though it won a couple awards, but I think they won award because it's Freddie Mercury, it's Queens, and it's nostalgic. So like when you pitch something or you negotiate someone or you pitch your ideas, you shouldn't be like, okay, we started this and then now we are really successful. You have to make sure you have the hero's journey, right? You have to the heroes has to, fail before you be successful. So you have
face
to
increasingly more treacherous struggles along the way.
Yeah, you also have to show your vulnerability. Like James always said this, you wouldn't want to invest or you wouldn't want to work with someone that always have an answer for everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You need to work with someone that actually don't mind saying, I don't know, or saying oh, we feel like doing that, but we are pivoting now. Because without fail, for entrepreneur, yes, you have to migrate, you have to reduce risk as much as possible. But if you fail, then you know that, it's time for you to pivot. And then when you pivot, it's actually show your true entrepreneurship. You know what I mean? So
Sure
I
do.
think the episode is great.
So I think we got time for maybe 1-2 more things to talk about. I briefly wanted to touch on Phil Stutts because we always seem to talk about him.
It is.
We were talking a little bit before the podcast, and I was saying how much I appreciate Phil because of how unlikely he seems so openly kind of mainstream. He talks about inside politics and the money and the analytics that go into it in a way that has been demonized by the media because it's so effective how his analytics are, and how successful, how effective it is, and also that he predominantly works for one party over the other.
Yeah. Do you know his book got banned on Facebook? His book advertisement got banned on Facebook.
Is it because he has such because he's so active in the political arena? Do you know why? Was it because of his marketing techniques?
Yes. So what happened is, from the article that I read, the original title is the undefeated marketing system, or something with presidential that helps win that helps you become the president of the company or whatever, because there's the word president in the title or on the advertisement, And
Got
it
flagged.
was during election time, so they banned it. Yep.
Right. Because
It's
political
kind of crazy, but like
That's very
it shows that
crazy.
it's effective too.
Yeah. So the fun thing about so like we were saying, so Phil has pivoted. In addition to he had already split off last time. So his company is called Win Big Media.
Win Big Media. Yep.
And now he also has Go Big Media. So one side's going for political, and now he has a marketing side that's going towards companies. And he has his new book, which is The Undefeated Marketing System. And it's very interesting to just hear about how effective his, according to him, his analytics are.
Yeah, and also like just listening to the podcast number 707, the Undefeated Marketing System with Phillip Stutts, just listening to the podcast also shows that how many people doesn't really rely on data.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like I thought like now we are in 2021 to be exact. Like you would have thought like a lot of people like would do things based on data. But with the episode show, like Phil's show, that like not a lot of people, like even in marketing, the marketing agency or whatever, they don't really rely too much on data, like which they should, you know.
I was specifically. It was really interesting to hear about the client he had she had been putting all of her social media budget toward on Instagram, and wanted to diversify and thought that Facebook being I think she had more followers on Facebook or whatnot on her community than on Instagram, and decided, hey Phillip, I want to retain you and put let's really build my Facebook side. And that he had done the research, got feedback and realized that Instagram was her second biggest market. Facebook was somewhere like down at like number 6 or something, and all the money really needed to go into Pinterest. Pinterest was where the base of her stuff was, and it's like, had he not gathered the data and just went along and said, here's what I want to focus on, a traditional marketing industry, they could have done everything right, but the audience wasn't there, and they're going to lose money.
Yeah, and it also like it doesn't really, so that the episodes and the books doesn't really only apply to corporate. It could be applied to your personal business if you have like newsletter, especially because you need to know where to promote your newsletter. Like you need to know, in certain topics, like what platform has the biggest audience or what platform has biggest following. So if you skip the episodes, you should definitely go back to listen to the episode because I think the episode is very practical. There's stories in the episodes, of course. Phillip tells a story, and then there's a practical way to follow the story and to apply it to yourself.
That's right.
Yeah. Do you have any other good episodes?
Well, I think the last one we want to talk about is what did we just do? It just came out. Oh no.
There's two.
The re-release.
There's two came out.
What was it? What do you have?
It wasn't a re-release. So it was
not a re-release. The book, the new edition of the book.
Yeah, it's 712, episode 712 with Robert Cialdini.
Robert Cialdini.
That episode is amazing.
I was talking about Duhigg earlier. I was talking about Charles Duhigg, and I had his name stuck on my mind, and I forgot our friend Mr. Cialdini.
But Robert Cialdini, the episode is great. It's the episode title is how to use influence to pursue anyone to give you anything. So before the podcast started, I actually asked James, before Robert came on, I asked James, do you like this version of the book better than the last one? So James responded like he loved this new edition of the book because he said this the new editions and expanded version of the book actually more practical than the first book.
Right.
The first book has a lot more theory, a lot of studies, but this one that just came out in May 4th has a lot more practical use. Like you can use it. You don't have to like think about it to apply it. You can just follow whatever techniques in the book and apply it.
Yeah, it's really rewritten, and then he added on an entire new principle at the end, a principle of unity, which didn't exist in the penultimate edition of this book. So he really, I think the influence on which Robert Cialdini's book has taken on, it's become the default text in this arena. Right. And people were kind of misusing things, and he wanted to create an updated. He said a friend of his was teaching in Germany or Italy or someone in Europe. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they said, Robert, your book is so influential, my students think that you're dead.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was funny. Yeah, because like to be honest, I thought he was dead too. We were like, well, because like that's. I think your terms. I think the terms that you were thinking was Bible.
Bible. Yeah. It really.
Yeah, Bible. Yeah, it's a Bible for the industry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Like how many people out there that their work is so influential and Biblical that you think they're still alive? No,
Yeah,
not
very
a lot.
few.
You
Very
know?
few.
Very
Mhm.
few. Yeah, because like even Michael Jackson was great, the king of pop, but only after his death. Rest in peace. The anniversary is coming up in a month actually. Like that. Like he just became an icon, and even like a lot of his work, being used or being analyzed in music industry. But yeah, the episode is great, and the stories that James and Robert Cialdini go back and forth is amazing. I really hope that he's gonna come on again. I think he's writing another new book, and he will come on again.
That'd be great.
Yeah, yeah. And another one that I want to briefly touch because I think it's just interesting is the one that we just came out is 713 with the Oscar Mayer Air,
Oh,
Chuck
yeah.
Collins.
That was
one
very
is,
interesting.
yeah, because it's that one is interesting. It's not that you can apply this, and you shouldn't be applying this if you are super rich, so that you can pay taxes and help people. But the episode is so interesting. You just hear the story of like the only story you keep hearing the story is like, oh, Jeff Bezos is so rich, he not pay taxes. But other than not paying taxes, what other thing that he's been doing to hide his rich? With the episodes, like I think he mentioned like having a trustee.
Offshore accounts. He talks about all the wealth protection services that go in and the people that the wealth protection industry that writes the laws.
Yeah, and also like it's one of the things that he said. I think I find it the most interesting is he actually said that taxes for the rich are optional.
Yeah.
And
right.
that's just funny. I mean, I don't think it's funny. I mean, I think it's funny, but I don't think it should be true. But like people should pay taxes. I just wish that my taxes are not that high. But I just wish that New York City taxes are not that high. But still, people should still pay taxes. Just help the country. Help whoever they need help. But yeah, that's our favorite episodes of the month. I'm very excited for this coming month because
What's coming up?
we have. Okay, so is it called preview or tease? So to tease, we have a couple great episodes coming up for next month. It's my dear friend Steve Cohen, the Magicians. He's coming on to talk about all the magic. Not all the magic tricks. It's more like how to use how he used the influence techniques or illusionist techniques to make magic believable.
Oh, very
Yeah.
cool.
It's very cool because like you can sort of apply that in real life as well.
And does it work without video?
Yes. I mean, we do have a couple videos that I'm putting out. I'm trying to put out, like when he shows us some magic tricks, and then also we have Dr. Michio Kaku's back on again.
Very interested to hear that, especially after hearing Brian Keating talking about his talk with Michio Kaku.
Yeah, that was great. It's funny because I did some work for Brian for the episodes. I have counted more than 10 times they have said with all due respect. Because they're like, with all due respect.
Oh,
I'm
no.
Like, this, with all due respect. I'm like, okay, is
Ooh.
this how scientists debate? With all due respect? Is that how
Yes.
scientists debate? Yeah, and then, of course, we have John Lee Dumas coming on as well. We have John Levy talk about, networking. And we also have Jeff Lerner coming back on and Caleb Hughes to talk about weed.
Nice.
Yeah. So next month's going to be very exciting. And then we have a couple people in the books already. Make sure you guys, keep subscribed. Oh, we can't say subscribes on Apple Podcasts anymore, can we?
I don't know. We said, what's the word? They're changing it to follow.
Yep, they changed it to follow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Follow us. Follow the James Altucher Show on Apple Podcasts. If you're
Spotify.
If you're on the Apple Podcast.
Stitcher.
Subscribe on Spotify, Stitcher, Overcast, wherever you get a podcast. And if you like these episodes, tweet at James, so to show that we are actually doing a good job, saying that, hey, Jay and Nathan is talking shit about you or something,
Yeah, then I'll listen to it.
Yeah, then he will listen to it, and he will know how good we are at podcasting. How much better we are at podcasting than James.
There we go.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for more episodes.
See you in June.
See you in June.
Your daily dose of gaming just got way more epic with the Snapdragon processor powering the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. Snapdragon processors give you the premium mobile experience that triggers your inner champion. Whenever you want, wherever you want. Get ready for edge-of-your-seat performance, advanced customizations, ultra-realistic graphics, and adrenaline-boosting speeds that have the power to move you in more ways than one. Follow us on Instagram at Snapdragon Official.